Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the psychological principle of the gambler's fallacy. Hello everyone, today we're talking about gambling, and even if you don't gamble, this will apply to you because it's the way that many of us see the world. It's a principle that affects everything we do. So as always, I'll begin with a quote, and that quote is, "The first thing he noticed was that Las Vegas seemed to have invented a new school of functional architecture, the Gilded Mousetrap School. He thought it might be called, whose main purpose was to channel the customer mouse into a central gambling trap whether he wanted the cheese or not." Ian Fleming, Diamonds Are Forever, the great author of 007, James Bond. These traps that have created, the gambling industry is one of the biggest, if not the biggest industry in the world. And why is it the biggest industry? Because it taps into things that are unique to all of us, that we all know, that we all sort of strive for. And it can be debilitating. One of my best friends has a gambling challenge, and I've seen how it can affect everyone in your life. And it's unfortunate that we've allowed society to create and to prey on these addictions. However, there is liberation. We don't have to wait for society to change. We can be the change we want to see. So I'll go through the gambler's fallacy in a bit more detail right now so we understand it. The gambler's fallacy, also known as the Monte Carlo fallacy, or the fallacy of the maturity of chances, is the mistaken belief if something happens more frequently than normal during some period, it will happen less frequently in the future. Or that if something happens less frequently than normal during some period, it will happen more frequently in the future, presumably as a means of balancing nature. In situations where what is being observed is truly random, independent trials of a random process. This belief, though appealing to the mind, is false. The fallacy can arrive in many practical situations, although it's most strongly associated with gambling, where such mistakes are common among players. It's a huge mistake. When you see someone, and you've got to remember there is a natural belief, which can be a mistake, and there's the real world. And when you go to a roulette table and it's red, 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 it's natural to think, well, it's going to come up black. Black has to come up. That this is the gambler's fallacy, is that next spin is a completely unique event in the universe. That spin has never happened before, and whether or not there was 100 reds before it will not affect that spin. That spin is unique and beautiful in its own right and will not be affected by the fact that there's reds. It has no memory. The wheel doesn't spin there going, geez, I've been hitting red up a lot, it's time to move to black. And that's what life is. Life is millions of individual moments where everything is an opportunity to start again or be refreshed. But what do? We take a backpack of beliefs, which is red, 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 red. This has to be black. And when black doesn't happen, what happens? We get upset. Wanting things to be different than they are is the cause of suffering. And that's what we do with the gambler's fallacy. We believe that we're due for a pay rise. We've missed the last 3 pay rises, we're due for it. Or we believe that eventually, a relationship that we're in, we'll have to find the right person. It's the gambler's fallacy. The fact that you've had 4 bad relationships does not mean you're any closer to having a good relationship. So let's look at this in detail. So number 1, gambling is a modern disease. Gambling is ubiquitous now. Gambling used to be at least had some social interaction. You had to go to a casino, you had to go to a card table and play. So at least there was some sort of social dynamic. Now with smartphones and computers, it's an epidemic, and it's ruining, in particular, young men. They have no concept that it's training their brain to seek risk and reward at all times rather than looking for the fact that they are already complete. We're all looking for those $1 billion to be complete, and we want it immediately, and it's not coming. Number 2, gambling is a denial of what is. Gambling is very much the form of, I don't like what I've got right now, so I'm willing to take a risk in order to get more. When you're content, you don't gamble. When you can imagine having everything you need and someone saying, oh, let's play poker because you can win this extra stuff. And you say, well, I have everything I need. Why do I want to win the extra stuff? Why do I want to take stuff from you when I'm quite content? Denying the way things are and the escape from that is gambling. You can't pay the rent. I can go gamble and make that money back. No, the fact is you can't pay the rent. So look at that situation, showing consciousness on it, and ask yourself, how can I fix this situation without risking more? Number 3, the hedonic treadmill. Okay, let's say you are a gambler and let's say you win. Let's look at statistically what's going to happen. And it's shown time and time again, even the studies done by lottery agents, so that 18 months after winning the lottery, people have returned to their same happiness level they did before they won the lottery. Why does this happen? We have a thing called the hedonic treadmill, which is your natural level of happiness will always find an equilibrium. So for example, if you were to be in an accident and lose your legs, you would suffer. But ultimately, statistically, it's shown that 18 months from then, you will regain your normal baseline happiness. It's great to know that. And it's also important to know that these things that you think will make you happy, this extra payday or the $1,000 you can win on poker or the scratchies or whatever your form of gambling is, it's not going to give you what you want. So maybe you should reinvest your energy. Number 4, a dollar saved is a dollar earned. Life is a lot of stress, and the majority of that stress is chasing money and the anxiety over money. And by saving money rather than gambling money, you can earn that money and be comfortable in the money you have. 4, the mathematics of love. I've done a video on the mathematics of love, and basically it's a very simple formula. It says that if in a group of 10, let's say 10 blocks, if there was one block that was worth a fortune and all the rest were worth $50, your best way of finding those blocks is to go through as many as you could without spending too much time. So for example, if you were to choose the first block and say, right, I believe this block has a fortune in it, and shake it and look at it, and then you were wrong, ultimately you could have done that for 5 blocks and shook them to find out which one had the fortune in it. And we do that in life. We are not willing to take the long road. We want the payday, we want the paycheck, not knowing that if we are patient and we go through our options in life, we will find the fortune we deserve. We will find the things we need. We just need to keep looking rather than waiting for an instant gratification. Treating every event as a unique experience and respecting that. This is why Jesus was constantly on the forgiveness tip and Buddha was on the let go tip, because if you forgive yourself, you are treating the situation as a unique opportunity. And I don't care if you've had success yesterday or yesterday was a terrible day. Your best way of dealing with the current moment is dealing with the facts that are in front of you and not constantly thinking that you're due something or the reds have come up so much that you're black. Drop that. The universe doesn't work that way. The universe is completely random. In fact, when scientists look at the submolecular level, it's all randomized. It is completely randomized until a conscious observer looks at it. And when I say randomized, I don't mean 1 out of 10. I'm talking about infinite possibilities for a single light wave. So the universe is random, and love that. That's mystery. That gives you a brand new opportunity every single second. Finally, allowing other people to win while you win at improving yourself. I decided a long time ago that one of the reasons I don't want to win the lottery is because I think someone else could do with that money more than I can. Not because that I don't need money in my life, but because I'm going to choose a different life that doesn't need paydays. It's going to be involved about me improving myself, and that's my jackpot. That's my lottery. And I've got no problem with people gambling, but for me, I don't want to get involved because I don't want to win their money, because I want them to be able to understand this at an experiential level. Gambling is a disease, and so many people, if they're not gambling with their money, they're gambling with their lives. They're taking risks on jobs they hate because they hope one day they'll get the payoff. They're putting their relationships last and their family last in the hope that something will come in that fill that void. It's just not coming. The only thing that's coming is this randomized, beautiful moment that will involve the next decision you make, which is ultimately the only and most important decision you'll ever make. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.